Get us started here. Just want to send her a quick email. Awesome. And where are you tuning in from, Miss Rita? Appreciate you being on and showing up. Hopefully this information has been valuable for you as well. So let me get us started here just with our intro while we are waiting. New slide. Well, I am going to go ahead and get the preliminary stuff out of the way. I am the dynamic, daring, one-of-a-kind diva, Denise Silas. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. We have been doing this Let's Talk About It Tuesday since March. It came about because we, let me back up. Empowered by DS is the name of our business. Empowered by DS. I am Denise Silas, the DS. I do this business with my daughters. Our whole business is around empowering women to be the best version of themselves, and we do it a variety of ways. So this Let's Talk About It Tuesday is a result of me asking women, what do you want to learn more about? I host quarterly workshops with the purpose of helping women to be the best version of themselves through their faith, their finances, their fitness, their fun, and their relationships. So then I ask them, what else do you want to know more about? And that's how we come up with the topics for Let's Talk About It Tuesday. So we do a quarterly event. And in January, we always do a vision board party. And then at the end of the year, we do a vision to victory. So the goal is to help women to be focused on what is important to them, what they can get excited about, and then stay true to that in order for them to make sure that they can be the best of themselves so they can give more to others. Then we do what's called Diva Dinner and Dialogue. What that is a Friday night social event where through conversation, we are connecting women and creating community. We do just a dialogue night, and then we do an activity night. So, and I'll tell you a little bit more about our activity night. So through social self-care, we are helping women to come together in a positive environment. Then we have, we did our very first this past April, Escape to Empower Me, a one-day away retreat. I'm excited about that because it gave the women the opportunity to relax, to kind of reset themselves and refresh in order for them to then come back and be refueled to be able to do the things that they want to do. Also, another one of our signature events, and I want you to save the date, in September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. And we do our event in memory of my sister who passed in 2011 from ovarian cancer. So the teal that you see in a lot of our branding is in memory of my sister. So those are some of the things that we do. Then we also have where we do a year-long devotional to help women just kind of grow through their faith. So we're doing right now a leadership devotional. It's 21 most powerful minutes of a leader's day. We meet about twice a month on a schedule in order to remind women we're leaders, and then what it says in the Bible as far as us growing those leadership skills. We also have an empowerment subscription box. We just released our one for this quarter, and the theme of that one was protect your peace. So the purpose of that subscription box is, one, because I do a lot of local events. This allows me to be still able to empower women through our subscription box. What it does is it has a journal in there. That whole journal encourages women to take time for themselves to figure out what's important to them. And for 12 weeks, it just helps them to really stay focused on that, the little things that they can do to continue to nurture their desires of their heart. I also do group coaching, one-on-one training as well. We do a focus challenge, which is around fitness wellness. And then at the end of the year, we our giving back, which is through the adopted grandparent, where we partner with people in our community to be able to provide gifts for over 400 elderly in the low income areas of northern Mississippi. So those are some of the things that we do. Coming up, if you're local to this area, we would love to have you be a part of the things that we do. We instead of having a in-person empowerment workshop this quarter, we are doing a virtual one. The mid-year inspection is all about you revisiting what you said that you wanted at the beginning of the year, recapping what you have done, reviewing that, regrouping, and then being recharged to finish an even better last 6 months. So I encourage you, share with family and friends. I don't care where they are in the country. It's going to be a very good opportunity for you to reset yourself to be able to then soar for the last 6 months. On August 1st, our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue, remember I said we do a dialogue and then we do our activity around social self-care. So this is our event that we did it in June. It was such a great hit. We're bringing it back in August as part of my birthday celebration. So we would love for you to come out. I always do a great early bird bonus. So if you register by the 11th, you get our early bird bonus as well for our event. So it includes food, it includes networking, as well as some dancing this time. And this is what I was talking about by saving a date for September 23rd is our in-person Feel the Teal for ovarian cancer awareness. And then we're also partnering with Jane's Gym on September 12th, where they're going to do a dance fit workout and raise money to be able to help us also raise money to bring awareness for ovarian cancer. So also through this month, so today we will have learn more about burnout, but then in addition to that, is our guest here? Is our guest here? In addition to that, we are going to also talk about one of my favorites, and I'm very excited about, is Dr. Amelia. She does a marriage ministry with her husband, but she's going to talk about when love hurts, just coming back off of betrayal. And then at the end of the second to the last Tuesday, Kimberly is going to talk about just having the courage to change. Sometimes we stay stuck in a career and we don't necessarily move because of being comfortable. So she just talked about the courage to be able to change careers. And then the very last Tuesday of the month, my oldest daughter, is going to talk about transitioning from college to career, how she's been able to navigate, and some keys about navigating your way through that transition and still being able to excel through that process as well. So if you know of anybody who's getting ready to graduate college or in their first couple of years of college, this will be a great opportunity for them, as well as for you in supporting them through that process also. So please check out our website, Empowered by DS. You'll learn about all the different things that we have going on and see some of the past things that we have done. Follow us on all social media platforms, and please share as well, because of course I have a lot of women who are local, but a lot of things that we do share and talk about is help to benefit women all across the country. So help me to do that by just sharing with some people that you may know, or if you see us post something, I love it when you like it, but I would love it even more when you share it. So share it with other people as well. So we would really, really appreciate that. So is Kristen on? I don't see Kristen. Let me see. Let me stop sharing for right now. But hold, please. Let me see if I can call her. Well, you guys, I just tried to call her, and I know this is 100% not like her because we were um, going back and forth, and she was so excited. Let me just mute your background for a minute, Rochelle. Um, and Trina, I'm assuming that you're related to Kristen. um, I now am concerned that everything is okay. Okay, let me. Well, ladies, I am not sure. I've tried to contact Miss Kristen, and um, I am not sure. I'm very concerned because definitely this is not the type of woman she is. We had been going back and forth, and she had shared how excited she was to participate. So I am definitely, definitely concerned that she's not able to. She hasn't come on yet, and is not answering. So we're going to pray that all is well with her. What I would like to, and then I can share this so that when we do reschedule, um, would like to have you guys either put in the chat or come out and say what are some of your concerns for yourself. Are you experiencing burnout with work? Are you experiencing burnout? Because we can experience burnout at work, we can experience burnout at church, we can experience burnout with our family, right? So I would love for us to even share. Still praying that she may jump on with us because her information that she shared is very good. I had the privilege of hearing her speak at a chamber event, and it was so good. And I know that a lot of us deal with wearing so many different hats, right? We always wearing so many different hats, and sometimes that can put us in an overwhelming situation, right? Where we feel overwhelmed, we get anxious, and I thought definitely was excited about her being able to give us some feedback. So Katrina, I see your hand is raised. See your hand is raised. Do you have something you want to share?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Um, for me, um, I so I work full time. I'm a caregiver. I'm also helping my son co-parent. He's a single dad, and so recently I took my mom to the doctor for a checkup, and the doctor was telling me, well, Katrina, you're just in what we call the sandwich generation. And I said to her, I don't know about a sandwich. A sandwich has layers. I feel like a panini. I feel like I'm pressed on every side and got grill marks. Uh,
Yeah.
but for me, I'm struggling with a little burnout with my work. I've been doing this work for over 20 years, and I'm a community health worker. And I do love serving my community, but the challenge is that the people have changed since COVID. It's just a different environment. It's harder to find people to volunteer. It's harder to find people that want to collaborate with you. So a couple of things that I've noticed about myself is I just lack motivation sometimes. I just lack motivation to want to even do what I do. And then I also have been battling with some sleep. I haven't been sleeping well, but my doctor said it might be part of menopause too. So for me, those are the two things that stand out for me. I just really have to really pray and pump myself up to do my work. And I just don't want to feel that way because I know that there are people that need what I have to offer, but it's just in this season of my life and with everybody know there's been cuts to nonprofit. I work for a nonprofit, so funding is a challenge for us. And it's just really hard to do the work that we are passionate about doing when there's so many things stacked against you. So I just find myself struggling to do the work I do and live in the work that because I do the work, but I live the work too. So I'm finding myself struggling with the motivation. So those are the two things I have.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps somebody or not.
I'm sure somebody else in the room is saying, yes, I can definitely relate to that. Yes. So what you got to say, Camille? Were you just agreeing?
I was agreeing. Yes, it helped. She said it so eloquently. Yes.
And you have a senior as well, right, Camille?
I do.
So I would imagine you're trying to navigate your life and his.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I was more interested to kind of know how do you I feel like I struggle. I go back and forth with it. As I told you, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for about 21 years as well. 21 years. And I get frustrated a lot with um just the things that they want and like the children and parents, just a whole lot. So, but then I go back and I'm like, okay, I sometimes I feel good, but then I have frustrations with it too. So I was more curious to know, like, how do you know this is burnout? Like, what are the, you know, key points to know that you're burnout? So, but I struggle back and forth with it, to be honest.
Gotcha. Lord, I wish I had my notes from because she did. She definitely addressed. I didn't think to find the notes. But yeah, she definitely addresses and it's that lack of motivation. I definitely and if anybody else had any feedback of what you believe, definitely lack motivation is asking yourself whether or not you still have the love for it, but trying to help yourself remember why you're doing it anyway, so that you're not just reacting to what the emotions of it around you, and then feeling. I always say for myself, if I'm not as, let's say, sharp, like it's taking me longer to process things, and if I don't, my creativity, like when you start losing your creativity, when you're easily irritated. I remember her saying that. I was like, yes, that's me. That is definitely me. I remember her specifically saying that. So, and then I think it becomes then, what do you do with those feelings when you notice that you are not? Because I remember talking about this piece too. When you notice you are now acting out of character, like you don't normally get frustrated with that. That doesn't normally get on your nerves. That don't normally, you start acting out of character. I remember that being a another concern as well. In the chat, Pam says, I'm ready to retire. However, I need to work a few more years to 2 years, 11 months, 9 days, 12 hours, 25 minutes for investment. Help me, Jesus, help me. Investment. This is a new career after being laid off of my good government job in Chicago. I just need some help and motivation. Yes. So how do we And I promise you we will get her rescheduled, but we're on here. Let's talk through it. I mean, it's still a concern of all of our, I imagine you got on here because of that feeling of burnout. So if you're willing, let's just have some conversation about that. So yes, Denise, and if you become robotic to everything, it's a problem. Yeah, becoming just going through the motions, right? That's what you're talking about, Mary, just kind of going through the motions of it. So let's talk about motivation for a minute, if you guys are okay with that. Let's talk about motivation. What puts us back in, to get us back in spirit? One thing I try to remember, this is something you guys, chime in what kind of helps you. One, I try to remember I'm not doing it for man, and I'm trying, to bring back the scripture, right? Everything I do is doing it unto the Lord. Now, as we say these things, we know these things take effort. Kristen. Yay. Where'd she go? I can't see your video. But that's one thing for me, as she's getting herself into this conversation. Your video is not popping in. Yes. Are you raising your hand, or you agreeing with what I'm saying, Mary? Raising your hand or agreeing with what I'm saying? And just jump in and talk. But that's one of the things that I do. I always have to sit and stop and I'm a walker. Anybody a walker? You just got to walk it off. I don't play no music. I just walk and let the birds chirp. I'm a walker. I just oh Lord. I work out as well, but sometimes even just I'm more of a late weight lifter, but having to walk it out is one of my big things of just trying to hear from God and to calm my mind to be able to process. Anybody else have that as a thing?
Yes. Denise, can I read something real quick, Denise?
Yes, Mary. Yes.
Something that has helped me with a lot that has been going on, especially on the job and even family. But a lot of times I have to refer back to the scripture, like you said. And living in these last days and the times that we're in now, we have to really, really pay attention to what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with. 2 Timothy 3:2-5 in the King James Version says, "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away." And when we know, when I read that, that gives me revelation on the people that I had to deal with on a daily basis, especially on the job. And then when you're trying to walk in your Christian walk, it's not easy. So, a lot of times the word will help encourage us, but it doesn't happen overnight. You have to go through some things and experience some things. But when you actually know what you're dealing with on the spiritual realm, then it comes to natural, then you can kind of adjust to what's going on around you. That was just my take. That's some things that I had to do.
Thank you for sharing that. Daily affirmation step. What it is, let go of what was, have faith in what will be done, what will be. Serenity. Anybody know anything about serenity prayer?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, Lord. So Kristen is here. Thank you. I know, just hold a little longer. Did I make you? I'm gonna make you co-host too. Do you need co-hosts? I'm gonna do that just in case. No, not Katrina.
No, please don't let me co-host that tonight.
There we go. Did that. Wasn't sure. So before you jump in, Kristen, while you're doing that, I'm going to just read her bio for you guys real quickly as she's getting in. Thank you, because we was about to conversate. We just going to talk about what we knew. So while she's bringing that up to you guys, Kristen Hearon is a senior leadership development specialist with over 15 years of experience in coaching, instructional design, and leadership development across corporate, higher education, and K-12 settings. At AutoZone, she leads the enterprise-wide Lead 1.0 and Lead 2.0 programs, impacting over 1,000 managers with a 96% satisfaction rate and over 90% knowledge retention. Kristen has developed scalable onboarding and mentorship programs, partnered globally to align learning with KPIs, and is DIS certified. Previously, she's created accessible, multimedia-rich training at the University of Arizona and served as an educational director and teacher leader across Memphis area schools. Her trauma-informed approach to instruction and coaching significantly improved program outcomes and satisfaction. Kristen holds a BBA in marketing and an MAT in instruction and curriculum leadership and an MS in industrial organizational psychology. She is currently pursuing her PhD in IO psychology at National University, where her research focuses on burnout, neurodiversity, and workplace satisfaction. She was recently recognized as AutoZone's 2024 What It Takes to Get the Job Done Right honoree, Best Overall by Dale Carnegie Training, and Best District Speaker by Toastmasters International in 2025. So yay! She is here. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So glad to have you.
Yes, I fought hard to be here. Thank you so much for your patience. I missed y'all's conversation. It sounded like it was really good. I'm Kristen. Thank you, Denise, for reading my bio. Basically, that just means I work in HR, y'all. All of that. I work in HR at AutoZone. I am using some AutoZone equipment, and it was like, no, you cannot. So I almost gave up, but I did not. I stuck with it. We're here. So we're going to talk about burnout today. You can raise your physical hand or your virtual hand. Has anyone ever experienced burnout or known someone who's experienced burnout? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Katrina. Me too. I was a teacher for about 15 years. Pamela, those last 5, maybe 7, I was definitely in a slow cooker burning out away. So let's share out some things about our week last week. If we could describe our week in one word. I see you, Rochelle. What's one word we can use to describe our week? You can go ahead and put that in the chat. So think about your week last week. What's one word do we use to describe that week? And Denise, how much time do we have left?
We have, are you guys good with 30 minutes? I think they're here for it. I think they are here for it.
Okay.
Can we tell if, I'm trying to verify.
So I can just gauge, yeah.
Yes, you're good. I think we're good.
Okay. I see busy, long, tolerable, hectic, long and busy. I feel it. Absolutely. So our weeks can be tedious. Mine, yours, everyone's. We want to make sure that we are not having so many weeks that we're burning out. So we want to make sure we have some positive weeks as well. We're going to talk about that today and how we can take care of ourselves. All right. So today we're going to talk about defining burnout, recognizing those symptoms, the root cause, and then we're going to talk about some prevention strategies. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly to cover it in 30 minutes. Feel free to interrupt me as much as you want. Ask as many questions as you like. I told you I used to be a teacher, so I am used to it. So whatever questions you have, feel free to throw those out. So burnout is chronic stress. It's something that has not been successfully managed. It's if you're continuing to have super long weeks or You just feel like you cannot go anymore. You feel fatigued. You're having trouble sleeping. You might have headaches. You could be irritable, not just at work, but to your loved ones. And then your performance might reduce at work. So let's go ahead and do a burnout assessment. I feel exhausted at work. I struggle to focus. I feel detached from my work. Just a simple yes or no. You don't have to share this out. If you answered yes to any one of these questions, then you have a high potential for burnout. So if when you go to work and you leave, you're exhausted, you could be burning out. If you struggle to focus, like, oh my goodness, I just need a break, or when can I go to lunch? You could be burning out. Or if you feel detached, like, why am I doing this? What is the point in this? That's also a red flag for burnout. So burnout happens because we have too much on our plate. We might not be recognized, and we might not have the tools we need. So it leads to turnover, but for you, it leads to health consequences. What can happen in your body when you experience burnout? That can be anything. It could be high blood pressure. It could be high cholesterol. All of those stress triggered things can stem from burnout. Now let's talk about what causes burnout. And I'm going to slow down here. This is really important. This is called the job demand resource model. In the job demand resource model, it says, if your job demands outweigh your resources, you are more likely to burn out. Make sense? Perfect sense, right? So those job demands are your workload. It's your stress. So your emotional labor. And emotional labor is if you have to pretend to be happy even when you're not at your job, that's emotional labor. So whether you're a nurse, customer service, it could be education, anything where you're dealing with customers or people facing roles, that's emotional labor. Then your resources are support. Who's helping you? What level of control do you have? What autonomy do you have? And then how are you recognized for the things that you do? That could be awards. That could also be monetary. So are you receiving bonuses and compensation for going the extra mile? So when demands exceed resources, burnout occurs. So I'm going to pause here. And does anyone have someone in mind, a friend we know, not us, whose job demands might exceed the resources? And I'm going to raise my virtual hand for sure. I think I'll just raise my physical hand. Definitely me. That can be any of us. Absolutely. So let's dig a little deeper into this. So key components. I see you, Rochelle. I see you, Pamela. Our job demands high workload. My least favorite, tight deadlines. Everything cannot be an emergency. That emotional labor I already talked about. The lack of control. Conflict resolution pressure. So that could be something as simple as just sweep it under the rug and keep on going, put a smile on your face, act like whatever happened never happened. The resources that you have, leadership and peer support. So if someone notices that you're struggling, will someone step in and support you? Do you have the freedom to make decisions? And do you have work-life balance policies? So does your job call you after 5 or after your shift, or call you in to do additional work, even though you've already worked your full schedule? Now, there are different pathways, right? So there's a pathway towards burnout. There's a pathway away from it. So if your demands are greater than your resources, you're on the pathway to burnout if you're not there already. So you're going to start experiencing chronic stress. You're going to start experiencing that emotional exhaustion. So when you get home, you might just sit in your car. Like, I'm not going in. I just need these 5 minutes to myself. And if you are like me and you're a mom, you're like, I just need these 5 minutes before I start my next job. Decrease motivation and performance. You just don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to go. If it's extreme burnout, you might not want to get out of the bed. The other path, if your resources are greater than your demands, well, that means that you can make choices and decisions. You're getting rewards for what you're doing. You're really engaged and you're satisfied with your role, and you're not looking for another job. So if you're always on LinkedIn or Indeed or wherever you are looking for another job, you might be exhibiting some signs of burnout. Now, how can you reduce some of these demands? So let's say you're one of the people who've noticed, I might be experiencing a little bit of burnout. I'm not there yet. But you can try to adjust your workload and redistribute tasks. One of the things that I had to really work on was delegation. I don't have to do it all. It's like, yes, I prefer the way I do it, but I need to be able to trust other people to do the job right. Automate repetitive processes. So it's something that you do all the time, automate it. One of the cool ways to do that I do in my role is I create templates for everything. So if I send this email every quarter, I have an email template that I send. If it's a process that I go through on more than 2 to 3 times, I create a SOP, a standard operating procedure for that process, so that I don't have to think about it. These are the steps that I'm going to do every time I do this process. And it makes it easy for me as someone doing the process, but it also makes me look professional. I'm consistent. They know that what they're going to get when I do this thing. People love it. Something I also struggle with is setting realistic expectations. I want to do everything for everybody, and you can't. So you have to be able to say, I can't do that right now, but this is when I can do it. And establishing clear boundaries. So not accepting calls outside of work, not coming in extra early to work or staying extra late, because you have to have that work-life balance. Now, how can you increase your resources? Find a mentor. I have a mentor at work. I have a mentor in my family. I have a mentor in my professional organization. When Denise read my bio, she mentioned I was an IO psychologist. So we are a part of SIOP. It's the Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology. And I have a mentor there. So anywhere you can find some type of peer support, definitely do that. Of course, you can vent to your friends, your significant others, but talking to someone that's in the same industry as you just hits different. They understand what you're talking about. They can also give you suggestions of things they have done differently. Seek autonomy in your decision making. What things do you control? And then recognize efforts of others so that people can start recognizing your efforts. At AutoZone, we have something that we use where we can send recognition and feedback. I do that all the time because once I send somebody feedback, they send me some back. So I'll say, oh, it was a great time working with you on this project. And then they'll reply, oh, I enjoyed working with you because this, and this. So send feedback, get feedback. Wellness and training programs. If your organization doesn't have a wellness and training program, create one for yourself. There is, if you're a member of Brown, there's a gym at the church, there are Zumba classes that you can attend. There's all type of things you can do for wellness. Always, always, always focus on your wellness. The mind, body, and spirit are all connected, and you have to have that together. I'm going to pause here to see if you all have any questions.
I don't have a question, but can you hear me? I don't know if I'm
yes.
Oh, I have a comment. When you said about creating templates and SOPs for everything, I'm like, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. But that's one of my takeaways, because there's several things that I do often over and over again. And I got out of the habit of creating stuff. Because then it also helps you to, if somebody can help you, now they know how to help you. When I always have this saying that if I'm working with you, do something I can't do. Like if you have help, ask me to help you. I should not, if there's something need to go to the next room, I can go to the next room. Go do something I can't do. So I need to follow my own thing, create the template so that I can go do something else that somebody else can't do to help me so they can help me.
Yes, that's it. Or you can delegate that task later on and learn something new. Absolutely. That's my ultimate goal, Denise. How can I delegate these tasks so I can do something new? Because after a while, I'll get bored if I'm doing the same thing over and over again. All right, so this is a way. So we talked about how to know whether or not you have or you're experiencing burnout. So let's talk about some ways that you can actually turn that around. So this is the self-determination theory. IL psychology is basically work psychology. To put it in an easy way, it's my job to assess work environments and determine ways that we can help people be happy at work. That is basically what I do for a living. So one of the ways that we do that is by using the self-determination theory. So I've already talked about autonomy, what people can control. Then there's competence. So things that you feel that you can really do. Like you're like, I know that I can do this thing well. So speaking to what Denise said, having someone to do something you can't do, she's already assessing her competence level on different skills. Relatedness, feeling connected to people. It could be colleagues, it could be leadership, but it doesn't have to be. Just someone that you feel connected to so that you can kind of be replenished as they pour into you. So with the self-determination theory, these are the three things that you can use to kind of fill your own cup. So in whatever that situation is where you might be feeling burnout, it could be a work environment, but it also could be your home environment. It could be a relationship. Look at what can you control. You can only control those things within your sphere of influence. Whatever else that you cannot control, you have to just let that go. It kind of aligns with the serenity prayer that you all were speaking of when I first came in the room. Now, in your competence, you have to be honest with yourself. What can you do? Sometimes we're burning out because we're trying to do a million things and we don't have the skill level for those things, let alone the skill level to juggle all those things simultaneously. So be fair with yourself. Treat yourself like someone you love and assess your competence level and things that you're not good at. Learn more about them or get help. And that's where relatedness comes in. Who can help you do things that you need assistance with? If you don't have anybody that can help you, that's something you can work on because that's something you can control. It goes back to autonomy. I can find people that can help me do things I need assistance with. So all of these things drive your motivation and your well-being. Because if you don't have any help, you don't know how to do it, and you can't control anything, you're not going to be motivated. Like, I'm not a good runner. I have never been a good runner. Even as a child, I was heavy set. I don't like to run. So my skill level and my capability is low there. I don't like it. I don't have a lot of friends that run. I don't have relatedness there. But I can control when and where I run. I could practice running more. And I could meet people who were runners and they could drive my motivation and it could improve my well-being. But if I'm honest with myself right now, that's not something that I'm going to enjoy as much. So I need to make sure that I am assessing that appropriately. So you just use this tool to assess where you are and then determine where you need to pour more into. Do you need more autonomy, competence, or relatedness? So these things can help you feel more engaged. It gives you higher satisfaction, gives you decision-making freedom. Training and development. So when we talk about training and development and feedback, when we go back to my running scenario, I could practice running. I could watch videos on running. I could join a running group. I could train myself. Feedback and recognition. I could track. I could ask for feedback from someone else. And then relatedness. Collaboration, someone to support you. So let's wrap this up. Burnout happens when demand exceeds your resources. And leaders must reduce those demands and increase the resources. JDR, which is job demand resource, and SDT, which is self-determination theory, are frameworks to build healthier environments. So they are frameworks that have been studied for years and years and years that are tried and true to help people reduce burnout. So what's a way that you can apply one of these things today? Whether you are doing the JDR, so job demand resources, or the self-determination theory, what's something that you can take away from this and use starting, say, tomorrow? And if you want to come off mute and just share out, you can, or you can share it in the chat.
One of the things that it's Pamela Craddock talking. One of the things that I have experienced since I have been in Alabama, I'm in Alabama, is that I don't know, these people feel threatened by you. They do. And they supposed to be, they say they're Christians, but they really don't act like it. And then I can say, since I have been in Alabama, this is really the first time that I've really worked with Caucasians. Yeah. So I was like a deer in headlights, and sometimes I still am. And it's like when you suggest stuff and they just different here. That's all I can say. And they're so different that I'm getting old and I'm so ready to retire. I put that in the chat. Like, so it's hard for me to say, because I'm pretty much checked out, but I still have a couple of years to go just to be vested. But so I don't. I mean, I need a lot of help, and I know I do. Yeah, yeah, because they don't pay me for what I'm worth, but they always come to me. So I'm just like, yeah.
Well, you definitely said a lot, for sure. So one of the things we can look at is when we talk about the self-determination theory, what can you control? So you don't have autonomy over how other people are responding to you, but you do have autonomy on how you respond. It sounds like since people are coming to you, that you have a high competence level. So that's something you can really lean into. And then when we talk about delegating and how can you show some of these other people some of the things you know when they come to you. So instead of giving them a fish, teach them the fish. So maybe some of those SOPs, standard operating procedures. Hey, I'm so happy you came and asked me about A, B, and C. Here's how I do it. And they can stop coming to you. And the next time they come, hey, Susan, do you remember that SOP I gave you on that process? Here it is again. So that way they aren't draining you all the time, especially because you're looking to retire. And then find somebody else who is in that same boat of looking to be vested, looking to retire soon, to be your support in that environment. And you said it was Arkansas? Was it Alabama?
Alabama.
Not familiar with Alabama at all. So definitely try to apply that SDT. So autonomy, competence, and then relatedness to see what you can do, what you can control, what you know, and who can help you because those are the three things that'll help you get to those last 2 years to retirement. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Well, whatever you've read about Alabama in history, believe it.
Well, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, I'm in Olive Branch, Mississippi right now. So I think we might be in the similar boats, paddling the same way. All right. I want to send a shout out to my sister-in-law, Trina Snell is here. She said she'll certainly try and delegate tasks more. I'm the queen of delegation. So, because the reality is people think you're a superwoman and you're not, right? You're just one woman. So how can you kind of share that weight and just focus on the things that you are a SME in, a subject matter expert, because we can't do it all.
Have you always been
And then Pamela said, I'm working now. Oh, Lord. Pamela, doing it all. You are superwoman. Goodness. All right.
They
Anyone
need
else
to pay
have
me
something
like
to
I'm
share?
superwoman, but they don't pay. They don't pay. I
That's the
think
recognition.
that's what makes me more frustrated than anything, is they don't pay, but they want to drain you. And I have pulled back a whole lot. Oh, a whole lot, But
And how has that worked for you?
It's good, but I'm so used to, doing stuff. But I have done what you said when I've showed people how to do things. Showed this one girl how to do stuff. Then she went and told her supervisor, which came to my supervisor. She told her she told her supervisor that I embarrassed her. I did this, I did that. But she failed to say that she jumped in my conversation. I mean, these people crazy. That's all I can say.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That sounds like a difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
After something like that, if I were to show someone something, I always follow it up with an email.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, Jan, it was great chatting with you today. Here are the steps that we discussed.
Thank you. That's very good. I'm gonna write that down right now. And use that.
Just to cover myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that let me know if you have any questions or any concerns, so they can reply back to me directly. And if they don't, then I can say, well, I sent them an email and asked them to let me know if they have any questions or concerns, and I haven't heard back. So it's just a way to be professional in the environment, but also cover yourself, for sure.
Kristen, you had said that you're a master delegator. Have you always been that way?
No. I started off as a master, I can do it all. And then I was juggling so many glass balls that it was just glass all over the floor. I was just, eventually looked like I was playing like I grew up in the 90s, 2000s. So like the game hacky sack, kids used to play kicking the balls with your feet and your knees. And, it was crazy. And I had to realize that as a high achieving Black woman, I'm going to get assigned more work. I need to be able to delegate that work to others. So that's how I started showing people how to do things. Because at first I took pride in being the person. I was like, I liked when people came to ask me, it's like, oh, you need my help. Oh. But now, no. Don't come and ask me, have you looked at your resources? Have you tried by yourself? I think that in teaching, I was a special education teacher. So those students needed a lot of help, a special education teacher for students who went to the regular class. And I developed a motto that said, ask 3, then me. So have you asked 3 people or tried 3 other things before you asked me for help? And I took that idea and applied it to adults. Ask 3, then me. Have you used your resources? Have you looked? We have something called a shared drive. So have you looked in the shared drive to see if I've already posted something about this thing? Don't just run straight to me to do your work for you because you are not sharing your paycheck with me.
So
that is my approach.
So a lot of women struggle with that, releasing it. So what was your trigger to make you say, I can no longer play this hacky sack game. It's time for me to, like, what was your trigger? Because we know that's what women struggle with, is being able to delegate, not feeling like we have to do it all. That whole, I don't have a problem with no, but I know a lot of other women do. No is my superpower. So, but that's where women struggle. And I think that leads us to creating our own burnout because we're trying to do too much. So what was your trigger to say, okay, I'm a high achiever, but I don't have to do it all?
Cancer. I ended up with thyroid cancer in 2017. And I didn't want to take off work because I was like, who's going to do the job? That was before I knew I had cancer. I knew I was sick. I knew I was a possibility that I could have something. I had done several biopsies. They were inconclusive. I had a discovery surgery. So I was a dean of students at a middle school in Memphis. And I was like, I'll just do the surgery in the summertime. One day, my principal came to me and said, what's going on with you? She noticed I was dragging my leg. And I was like, am I dragging my leg? Although I knew I dragged it intermittently sometimes during that time when I was struggling with cancer. And she just grabbed me by the shoulders and was like, you need to take care of yourself. And we can take care of everything while you're away. I bust into tears right there. I told her I had my surgery scheduled for the summer. This conversation happened in January. I was planning on having this surgery in June. And she was like, no, call your doctor right now. So I did right there in front of her, asked them to move me up. I did the exploratory surgery in February of 2017. And when I woke up from surgery, they told me I had stage 2 thyroid cancer and they had removed my thyroid. And that if I had waited until June, because I was trying to do my job, that I could have had stage 3 cancer and it had to go through chemotherapy. So that moment was when I realized that I need to share the load. That was the moment. And I have shared it ever since. Because during that time when I was out, nobody called me. The world didn't stop.
Right.
The work got done.
Right.
They didn't have a substitute for me. People just picked up the work and took care of it. So once I saw that could happen, and I was out 2 months. So once I saw that could happen, I was like, okay, there's no reason why I should work myself to death ever again. So I think that we all have to have that kind of moment where you realize that this is just work, whatever the work is, whether it's a job, whether it's being the best mom or the best wife or having the perfect home or the perfect church member, whatever it is, you have to realize that you have to take care of yourself first and that you are not as important as you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the aha moment. You are not as important as you think you are. And the pressure that you're feeling is coming from you. That goes back to that autonomy piece. But great question, Denise.
Had put that. I want to make sure that is in the comments, recorded in history.
Well, that's what I learned. I can't say for everyone, but that's what I learned. I was like, the school didn't stop. Right. Everything was fine. Nobody called me. I didn't have to come in.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I thought they couldn't make it without me, and they surely could.
Right.
So I don't have to work as hard.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. So
they figured it out. Yes, they figured it out just fine. And I appreciate them so much for it. It released the pressure from me to know that I had that support. When we talk about the job demand resource theory, I had support. People who are willing to pick up that slack when I needed to reduce my workload. Mm-hmm. So I'm thankful for that.
Awesome. Now, I know before you came on, they were talking about, once you start feeling that, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, is when you are feeling that lack of motivation, you go through these exercises. What else can you do as where to care for yourself, during that process when you're trying to regain motivation, and sometimes even that brain fog, all that stuff you're going through. The strategies, I understand that, but do you have any other thing to add about just the process of physically that maybe a person can do?
Yeah. So here on the screen, you see set boundaries, mindfulness, time management, schedule recovery. That's all important. But if you really are struggling from burnout, it's going to start with something as simple as taking deep breaths. So I'm going to stop here to end with these individual strategies, but just taking deep breaths. So first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I inhale, exhale. And then I think of 3 things I'm grateful for. Easy. Throughout the day, whenever I start to get frustrated, if someone comes over to my desk with a dumb question, I think of something I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's as simple as I'm so thankful that I'm not the person coming over here with this question. I'm thankful to be the person with the answer. And that I'm not upset anymore. Inhale, exhale, pretty simple. So practicing gratitude, practicing deep breaths. There's something called the box method for breathing. In for hold, out for hold. Pretty simple to do. I do that throughout the day. But then also spending time in nature. So whether it's just sitting outside on your back porch, whether it is if your work environment has some type of a urban garden or anything like that, you can go and kind of decompress throughout the day. I do that all the time. At AutoZone, we are downtown Memphis on the Mississippi River. So I go to the roof and I just sit out and watch the raw water flow. And the great thing about that is I realize that all the things that I'm thinking about, all the deadlines that I have are so minute in regards to the nature system. The river is going to keep on flowing. Whether I make my deadline or miss my deadline, the birds are going to fly by, the clouds are going to be there. And it just helps you realize that things are not as serious as they feel when they're pressuring down on you to get it done. So those are 3 things you can do. Practice mindfulness, which is just that gratitude, being present in the moment with your breath. You can use nature. And then just to add on something additional, show yourself some grace. I do it all the time. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I mess up. Sometimes I fail. I used to be really hard on myself about it. Oh my goodness, how could you do that? You know better. But you know what? Nobody's perfect. And I just remind myself of that. I do what's called a post-mortem. We do that in project management. After you finish the project, you look at lessons learned at the end of the project. So at the end of my personal failure, I'll do a post-mortem. What did I learn? Sometimes it could be as simple as don't wait till the last minute, Kristen. It could be something as simple as that. Whatever it is, I just take that lesson learned and I apply it. And then if I go through a situation again and I have that same lesson, then I laugh and I tell myself, well, girl, you didn't learn it yet. And I just let it go and show myself some grace because nobody's perfect. Everybody's on a journey to become who they're meant to be. And I'm just telling myself I get better every day. Even if I take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, at least I'm moving forward. Good question. Thanks. Anyone have anything they'd like to add to that? Any other suggestions you have for someone who might be experiencing burnout?
I was wondering if you could share that last screen. I was trying to take a little notes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The last one you did.
Let me go back and open it up. And you all can feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. If you're on there, I'm super active on there. I'm not as active on the other social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram, but I do the professional networking. And here's this slide. Okay, let me share.
You're Kristen Snell Hearon on LinkedIn, right?
Yep, Kristen Snell Hearon. And
while you're pulling that up, I want to emphasize or acknowledge or yay what you said about everybody is on a journey to get to who they are meant to be. And I think if we just what that makes me think about is the lessons that we have to learn, the trials we got to go through, like all of that is a part of the process of becoming the person we were meant to be. And then the other thing, what I do a lot when stuff is happening, I said, Lord, what am I supposed to learn? Like, because sometimes even when it's I say this too, especially when people are irritating me, or if there's things that I'm not enjoying about my experience with others, trying to say it a good way, is I said, Lord, what am I doing to contribute to that? Because I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what am I doing that may be causing them to do that even though I don't like it, so that, because sometimes it's not what we intend for people to get, could be their own perceptions, and we know that's built around a lot of things, right? Their belief system, what they went through that morning, it could be any and everything. So that whatever I can do to prevent, minimize that I'm not always just pointing fingers at other people, is what can I do to put myself in position. And sometimes it's just not having to say the last word or not having to be the right person, is that concept of choosing your battles there as well. So, and I say that so that, okay, if I'm contributing to my own frustration, not realizing it, please, show me that, as well as what lessons I'm supposed to learn.
I love that, Denise. It goes back to that autonomy piece. What can you control?
Yeah.
You can control yourself. You can't control other people.
Right.
Paying attention to that. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna, at the end, personal commitment. So burnout is preventable. Make sure that you prioritize your well-being, and then action starts today. So think of something that you can start doing next week. So when we talked about our week in the beginning of this, long, tolerable, what can we do so that at the end of this week, when we think back, we can say, my week was great, or my week was productive, or my week was enjoyable. What things can you control based on your competence level and the people who can help you? What can you do to make this week a positive one? So you don't have to share that in the chat or share it out. Just think about that for yourself, because this is your life. If you don't like what's happening, you have the power to make some changes. You might not be able to change everything today, but you can make small changes so that your weeks are more positive. So think about that. What can you do? Even if it's something as simple as taking those deep breaths, practicing gratitude, having moments of prayer, whatever that might look like for you, so that by Saturday, when you get ready to leave out Sunday morning, you're saying that previous week was awesome, because you owe it to yourself. You are running your own life. I like to think of my life like a movie that I'm the star in. I actually got that from a quote years ago. So like, if I'm the star in my own movie and I'm writing the script and I'm directing this movie, why would I not make it awesome for me? What changes can I make so that this movie that I'm writing and directing and starring in is a box office hit that I love for myself? You can do that same thing for yourself. Here is my information. If you're looking for that, this is my LinkedIn. You can find me there. You can reach out, ask any questions that you have regarding burnout, or if you have any questions about industrial and organizational psychology, which is, again, just work psychology, how to make people happy at work is what I do. I also have a lot about neurodiversity. So if you know anyone who is ADHD or autistic or anything like that, I'm actually doing some research on that right now. So love to chat about that as well. Denise, I'm going to send it back over to you. Let me know if you have any questions.
Awesome. So what real quick you just said about the autism, do you tell us a little bit more about that. Do you speak with tell me like what
Yeah. So yeah, great question. So I am currently doing my PhD, and my focus is neurodiversity in the workplace. So right now I am meeting with people in HR, so HR business partners, HR generalists, to determine what accommodations do people with ADHD or autism or dyslexia really receive in the workplace, and what percentage of employees actually self-identify. I'm also surveying ADHD people who, what is your experience in the workplace? How are you successful? Are you experiencing burnout? How does it affect your job performance? Do you receive accommodations? So that's the work aspect of it. The school aspect of it, as I mentioned, I used to be a special education teacher. So I partner with parents who have children who might be ADHD or autistic, and they are having trouble with the school system regarding their students' individual education plan. That is literally what I did for a living. So I can look through those plans, address any misconceptions parents might have, help them understand their rights, and then help them speak the language of the school so that they can get what their child needs to be successful. Oftentimes, students with ADHD have more behavior issues. They are suspended or expelled more. They're more likely to be Black and brown children that are identified as ADHD. So we'll talk about all those different things just to make sure that what's happening with the student is fair and that child receives FAPE, which is the law. So FAPE is that child's free and appropriate public education. So they have a right to that. And anytime the school doesn't abide by something in that individual education plan, that's a breach of contract. And you actually have the right to sue. Most of the time, you will do some type of arbitration before that and give the school a chance to make it right. But if they don't, then you could sue and actually have a monetary award. So special education is the most litigated component of education, but parents need to know their rights first. So I do that as well.
Oh, okay. I asked because that was one of the things that I wanted to do for mothers who, I know a few mothers who just are becoming aware that their children are autistic, and just knowing what to do, just seeing them, just not knowing really what to do. So
yeah,
provide that platform for them to
gather. Tell them to reach out. And you know what? If they don't want to reach out to me with AI right now, ChatGPT is really good. If they put in the state they have, what the disability is, ChatGPT can go through what the rights are. If it's Tennessee code annotated, just refer to that, Mississippi code annotated. IDEA is the federal law they have to abide by. So ChatGPT will give you all of that information so that when the parents go into these meetings, they're equipped. Yeah. They also can request an advocate, which is what I would be. So someone to come in and speak that language. Yeah. It's not difficult. If you say enough of the correct language, they will pretty much give you what you're looking for. So to speak to it more directly, my son had ADHD, and before they knew I was a special education teacher, they treated me differently. Once they knew that I knew what they knew, it was a whole different playing field. Completely different approach. Before it was, we can't do that. Now it was, how can I help? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what made me realize there's a need for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, y'all.
Well, thank you very much. Definitely was worth the wait. We appreciate it. I knew you had some great information to be able to share. I know burnout is more common than we want it to be. So thank you again for your time with it. Guys, make sure that you connect with her on LinkedIn so that you can follow some of the great things that she is doing as well. So thank you again. I appreciate you Kristen, for your time and your sharing your expertise. So everybody have a great rest of the night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.